The position change system within EA Sports FC will be different from what we currently have. And in today's video, I'm going to be going through absolutely everything that you need to know. But before we do, if you're still going through FIFA 23 and you want to take advantage of the cheap player prices, then there is no better place than SkyCoach. SkyCoach offers cheap, fast and reliable FIFA 23 coins so that you can spend less time grinding through matches, trading, and more time buying packs and buying the players that you want to play with. What's really cool is because player prices are so cheap, you are able to get twice as much as what you were able to do before, or get better players. So if you're interested, there is a link in the description down below, and if you use code Fanatic, you'll also get a 10% discount.
Nice.
Position change. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it does play a big part in Ultimate Team. For the longest time, the position change system was what we had within FIFA 22 and before. You would be able to convert any player out of their default position, but to limited positions. For example, a left mid can go to a left wing and a left forward, a striker could go down to centre forward, cam, centre mid, and then CDM. Right backs could go from right back to right wing back, and then centre backs and goalkeepers, they just had to remain where they were. If you wanted to play with a centre back within a CDM position, you could, but you just couldn't do it with the position applied to the player. You would get 6 chemistry, taking into consideration that the rest of the team was still on full chem and would still somewhat link to your centre back, which is now playing CDM. This was a problem. So within FIFA 23, it was changed. It was changed to a new system where each player would be different. They would have their preferred position, and then most of them will have an alternative position. These positions were decided based on what they have played in real life. So if a striker was playing up front as their normal position, but occasionally would be swapped out to go out onto the left hand side as a left wing, they would then have the default position as a striker, and with a position modifier applied to them within Ultimate Team, you would be able to switch them to a left wing. But a position modifier system, it has a bit of an issue. It works well for your Ultimate Team, but doesn't work in any other game mode. For example, let's take a look at Foot Draft. With Foot Draft, you can go into this by selecting a formation, you then select a captain, and depending on who you get and the formation that you selected will depend on whether or not the player will get chemistry. If you selected a formation which didn't have wingers, but the captains that were there, maybe one of the best selection was a winger, you could select them, but it means that they'll be playing out of position, and because they're playing out of position, they get 0 chemistry. And even if they had an alternative position where you would be able to change them to be a striker, you can't. You can't because position modifiers are not allowed within Foot Draft. There isn't an option to change them. Just like there isn't an option for you to change chemistry styles or anything for that matter. This means even though you have an amazing player as your captain, you can't really get the best out of them, even if it is just a few attribute points. That's why for EA Sports FC, they're getting rid of position modifiers. Instead, there won't be this extra layer to you wanting to change a player's position to you having to buy a position modifier or go through your consumables to see if you have one and then applying it to that player just to select the position that you want. Instead, you just go and select the player, change the position. Simple as. And I'm hoping that EA have taken into consideration that you should be able to go and do this in Foot Draft. You should be able to select a player, and if their preferred position doesn't suit the formation that you selected, but their alternative position does, you should be able to just go through and change the player's position without needing to worry about anything else, just like what is supposed to be leaked for Ultimate Team as a whole within EA Sports FC. But with this, there is also another issue which players find frustrating. It's not game breaking, but it just is limited. As things currently stand within FIFA 23, you can switch between a preferred and an alternative position, but you can't do anything out of it, despite how close the other positions are. What I mean by this, yet again, using our example earlier, you can have a striker, which is their preferred position, and their alternative position may be a left wing. But unless another alternative position of that player is a center forward, you can't convert them down. It's only striker and left wing. I had this exact problem at the beginning of the year. I bought into Player of the Month Marcus Rashford and thoroughly enjoyed using him, but I wanted to change formation. I wanted to go to the 4-3-2-1 formation, and this year this formation had some changes because originally it was left forwards and right forwards. Now it's 2 center forwards. Rashford by default is a striker, that's his preferred position, and his alternative positions is left wing and left mid. This meant that if I was to go and play him in a center forward position, I wouldn't be able to get full chemistry. It wasn't too much of an issue, it's just one of those things which could be better. Despite playing so closely to the formation which is his preferred and also his alternative. The only way you can get around this, if you were still looking to get maximum chemistry while still looking into the position system, is if you kept them as a striker and then changed it within game. Do this through your custom tactics where you move players along, you still have the exact same formation, but you have the players switched. And this is just an extra level to this where you need to start thinking about certain player positions. This one was a simple one. Of course, I got around it at the beginning of the year, and it wasn't long until Rashford fell out my team because I was able to buy into bigger and better players. But still, it's something that you need to think about. For the new position change system, it doesn't solve these issues. Even though they are minor issues, it still doesn't change anything. It just means that now you do not need to go and buy a position modifier. What I personally would like is one of two things. Firstly, I would like to see a completely revamped position system. Even though they did already do that for FIFA 23, I would like it to be the case where you could just play any player anywhere. At the end of the day, I'm building my ultimate team, and if that means that I need to go and play some players out of their default position from real life, well, at the end of the day, it's a game. And in this gameplay experience, I'm supposedly the manager of this ultimate team. Just like in situations that happen within real life where players don't go into a new team or for whatever reason they need to be played within a different position, I should be able to go and do that with no consequences, regardless of how ridiculous it is. Just like within real life, Marcus Rashford was an emergency goalkeeper for Man United. I think it was only for a game, but he still ultimately went into that position. Now that does mean that there will be some players which would be moved into ridiculous positions that don't make sense. But at the end of the day, it's up to them if they want to go and do that. If someone wants to start putting centre backs as strikers and strikers as centre backs, they really should have the freedom to do so. Some would argue that this is not immersive and it's not realistic, but if they want to, they can. Just like there's nothing stopping managers in real life from doing that. And I'm happy to come up to an opponent who's going to start putting strikers as centre backs. Hopefully should be a much easier game for me. The second option is that player positions can be spread anywhere depending on the location of the pitch. So for example, yet again, using Marcus Rashford, he is an attacking player, so he should only be able to be converted to positions that are somewhat attacking. Now that does mean striker, left wing, which he currently is, but also right wing, cam, center forward. I think that is fair. So players can then be split up depending on what type of role they play and split up into defenders, midfielders, attackers, the 3 areas of the pitch. That means with defenders, they could go from right back, center back, left back, wing backs, as well as CDMs. It may be clear of what I would like to see more. I'm more for the play any position anywhere, but if you did want to go for something a bit more realistic whilst still having the freedom to convert players where you want them to, you can then go for the second option, which is breaking the pitch down into key areas and then being able to convert those players to any position as long as they fit within those key areas. For now, in terms of the position system, I think there have been some issues this year. Yet again, nothing too major, but there's still some limitations. By removing a position change modifier, you not needing to buy that anymore, it also not being a packable item, makes sense for them to remove it. And hopefully that should help FUT Draft. so that you can convert any player to the positions which are on their card and not suffer the consequences of selecting a player which doesn't quite fit within the position of your formation. Especially considering once you go through the subs and reserves, it's always played out in the same formation, so that you'll always be able to get right backs and left backs even if you selected a 3 at the back formation. That doesn't change. So hopefully this will open a door to somewhat solve that problem. But I still think the position system could have some bigger improvements, for there to be more freedom and for the chemistry system to be the only one in play, rather than being limited to the positions that players can play in, have the limitation all within chemistry. Much simpler way to get things done, and would open a door for a variety of different teams, as now players will no longer just be within their default positions as well as their alternative positions, but pretty much suited to how the players would like to go and use their team to fit their playstyle. And this can be layered up onto with other types of features which are supposedly coming to EA Sports FC, such as the trait system. But for that, we'll need to hold that for another video. If you have any suggestions of what you would like to see within EA Sports FC in regards to the position change system, then let us know in the comment section down below. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going. So see ya.